I can recall as clearly as yesterday the occasion when my shorthand teacher, Miss Jefferson, gave me and a fellow student a 200 words a minute dictation, without telling us what the speed was going to be. She said it would be short and faster than usual, and asked whether we felt up to the challenge. We agreed, partly with trepidation, and partly feeling rather honoured that she had decided that we might actually be able to write some of it. With the promise of it not being very long, we could not let ourselves down by chickening out. She had obviously done this before with past students, and knew what the likely reactions would be during and after the event. I am sure she had been waiting patiently for the day to arrive when she could offer us this challenge, and her eyes were smiling and sparkling. She invited the others to try and get some down, if they felt inclined to join in. My friend and I had our eyes and minds firmly on the pad, wondering what we had let ourselves in for, but ready to make our superhuman effort to concentrate and get as much down as possible. There was not the slightest chance to hesitate, and if an outline was unknown, it had to be skipped, and even known ones were written in a wild scrawl. When it was over, Miss Jefferson asked if we had got any of it down. We both said yes, but hardly readable. She very kindly did not ask us to read back, as she knew we would be doing that at home, just to see if we could retrieve 1 or 2 words from the scribble. Then she told us the speed. Exclamations of shock and astonishment bounced round the room, and the exact term to describe us all at that moment is flabbergasted and gobsmacked. We had actually agreed to and taken part in something that was, we thought, entirely impossible for raw novices like us, even though we were nearing the end of the course. We had faced off with a 200 words per minute passage, and had survived the encounter with life and limb still intact. Like the Victorians travelling by train for the first time, we had thought that the human frame could not withstand going at such a ridiculous speed, and that the force of acceleration would squash us all flat. The point was clearly not to practice unseen dictation, improve our powers of concentration, or stretch our note-reading skills. It was not even about learning to persevere through the tough places and not let ourselves get behind. The scrawl was illegible, and no shorthand could be learned from this particular exercise. Its aim was to change our view of ourselves, which I'm sure has always been an ongoing task for shorthand teachers. As a student, my mind was full of speed numbers, all with the appropriate labels personal to me. Easy, not so easy, difficult, impossible, and one labelled probably never. Why would you bother working towards a never speed? The prior warning that it would be quite fast allowed us not to get discouraged in the first sentence, because it was not being presented as one that we ought to be able to manage. Just doing it, regardless of the result, seemed to deprive the number 200 of its intimidating appearance, and put it firmly in the possible category, admittedly somewhere near the end of that rather long queue. Instead of it being out in space, unreachable, it and its lesser friends were now on the ground, and could be reached if only we took enough steps in their direction. If you are studying on your own, you cannot really duplicate Miss Jefferson's method, as it is not possible to spring a surprise on yourself. The nearest way to get this effect is to record some half-minute dictations at various normal speaking rates. Allow some time to elapse to forget their contents, then take one down at random. Afterwards would be the time to measure the speed, which for a half-minute passage will be the number of words times 2. I would suggest that these wild attempts are not taken all the time, as you would then be constantly practicing leaving gaps, and that is not something you want to get used to doing. Miss Jefferson only did this once, in order to give our confidence a boost before the end-of-term exams, and also to set our minds on the correct path for the future when we left the college. Your normal speaking speed is probably around 3 words a second, which comes out at 180 words a minute. I believe my passage was about half a minute, which produced 2 pages of desperate scrawl, which would have been 1 page of neat writing at a more reasonable speed. Half a minute seems plenty long enough, considering the effort being required. You would do yourself a favour if you read out parts of the easier passages from the instruction book, so that you have some chance of knowing the outlines. This ordeal is really best undertaken by the speed aspirant, not by the beginner, or those who have not finished the instruction and review books, for whom discouragement seems a more likely outcome. I can confidently say that everything you do after that will seem luxuriously slow, at least for the next hour or two. And if you can read just one outline from that super-fast take, then I think a little smugness is an allowable treat as a reward for all your hard work. The following paragraph contains 100 words, and if you record it in 60, 40, and 30 seconds, that will be 100, 150, and 200 words per minute respectively. There are several abbreviating devices and good phrases that will help you on your way to smooth, even and fast writing, and the vocabulary is easy. I have repeated it at the above speeds on the blog dictation that accompanies this article, in ascending speed order, and the brave can go straight to the end one first to test their mettle. You could take the easier path of printing out the shorthand JPEG and writing over the top of it, just to ascertain that your hand can actually travel at that speed. But this would not be a test of your skill as a shorthand writer, as there would be little mental work involved. Dear Mr. Smith, thank you for your recent letter, which we received yesterday. As requested, I am sending you information on our products, which will be available at the beginning of next month. We are confident that the new lines will be a great success, and we suggest that you place any order with us as soon as possible. Our prices are very reasonable, and we are now able to send these items by special first-class delivery if required. I hope you will find the enclosed brochure of interest, and I look forward to hearing from you. Yours faithfully.